Hey, welcome. You know, every single day, especially at work, we're surrounded by all kinds of different people. And we're constantly using this idea of personality to figure out our colleagues, our bosses, and of course, ourselves. So today we're going to dive into what personality really is and why getting a handle on it is an absolute game changer at work.
I mean, you've totally been there, right? You meet someone new on the team and you just click. The conversation is easy, but with someone else, it feels like you're speaking different languages. Well, that's not random. It all comes down to a simple truth. No two people are exactly alike. And it's those differences that shape our entire workplace experience.
All right, so let's get right into it. If we really want to understand why we get along with some people and not others, we have to get to the core of what makes each of us tick. And the key to unlocking that whole puzzle is this thing we call personality.
Okay, I know this definition looks a little textbooky, but stick with me. Let's break it down. Think of your personality less like a label and more like your own personal operating system. The key words here are dynamic organization. It's not just a random jumble of quirks. It's a structured system inside you that's always running, helping you deal with whatever the world throws at you.
So what's actually in this personal operating system? Well, we can look at it in three main parts. First, there's the you that everyone else sees, how you come across, the vibe you give off. Second, there's your inner world, what you believe about yourself, your values, your self-concept. And finally, there are your traits, those consistent patterns that make you, well, you.
So if that's what personality is, the next big question is, where does it come from? This brings us to that classic debate, nature versus nurture. Were you just born this way, or did your experiences make you who you are? And the real answer is, it's a bit of both. Let's look at the three big factors that shape us. First up, you've got heredity. That's your genetic blueprint, stuff you were born with, like your basic energy level. Then there's your environment, which is huge. The culture you grew up in, your family, your friends, they all leave a major mark. And finally, there's the situation. Think about it. You're probably not the same person in a high-pressure board meeting as you are at the casual Friday happy hour. Your personality adapts.
Okay, so if every single one of us is this totally unique mix of genetics, environment, and situation, how in the world are we supposed to make sense of each other? Well, lucky for us, researchers have come up with frameworks, or types, that help us spot common patterns. Now, these aren't meant to be rigid boxes, but they are super useful ways to understand behavior. Let's start with a classic you've probably heard of. Type A versus Type B. Type A people are those go-getters. They're ambitious, competitive, always moving, always in a hurry. Type B folks, on the other hand, are more laid back, easygoing, and reflective. In an office, a Type A might live for crushing deadlines, while a Type B is amazing at stepping back to think through a complex problem. See yourself leaning one way or the other? Here's another big one, and this is all about where you get your energy. Extroverts get jazzed up by being around people and action. They recharge by socializing. Introverts, though, recharge with quiet time and reflection. An extrovert might love a buzzing, open-plan office, while an introvert might do their absolute best work behind a closed door. And of course, most of us aren't 100% one or the other, we're ambiverts, falling somewhere in the middle. Now this next one, this one is a huge deal. It's called locus of control. Basically, it's about who you think is in the driver's seat of your life. If you have an internal locus of control, you believe you are in charge. You make things happen. I control my destiny. But if you have an external locus of control, you tend to feel that outside forces, luck, fate, other people, are in charge. So if a project fails, the internal person asks, what could I have done differently? While the external person might say, well, the odds were stacked against us. Okay, so we have these frameworks, but what does this all actually mean on the job? How does this theory play out Monday to Friday? Well, here's the most important insight. There is no single best personality. It's all about the fit. It's about matching a person's natural traits to the demands of their job. For instance, someone who is a high risk taker could be an incredible stock trader, right? But you probably want someone with low risk-taking tendencies to be your accountant. Someone who's a high self-monitor, meaning they're great at reading a room and adapting, is perfect for a sales or PR role. And someone high in what's called Machiavellianism, which is just a fancy way of saying they're pragmatic and not easily swayed by emotion, they might be a rock star negotiator. It's all about matching the trait to the task.
And you know what else plays a massive role? Self-esteem. It's like the fuel for ambition. People with a strong sense of self-worth are just more likely to aim higher. They're drawn to more challenging, high-status jobs because deep down they believe they've got what it takes to succeed.
So, after all of this, what's the big takeaway? It can be really tempting to just slap a label on yourself or other people. Oh, I'm just an introvert, or he's such a type A. But the most important thing to remember is that your personality isn't some permanent tattoo. It's a journey. The famous psychologist Erik Erikson actually showed that our personalities evolve throughout our entire lives as we face new challenges. As a teenager, it's all about figuring out your identity. As a young adult, the focus shifts to building close relationships. Later on, it's about what you're contributing to the world. The bottom line is, the person you are today isn't the same person you were 10 years ago, and you won't be the same person 10 years from now. We are all a work in progress.
And that's really the whole point. The goal here isn't to get good at labeling your coworkers. It's about developing self-awareness, understanding your own tendencies and strengths, and building empathy so you can genuinely appreciate why other people are the way they are. That, right there, is the secret to amazing teamwork.
And if you're a manager, wow, this is basically a leadership superpower. When you understand that every person on your team is on their own personal journey of development, you can lead with so much more insight and compassion. You can anticipate their needs and help guide them through their careers more effectively. So, I'll leave you with this question to chew on. Based on everything we've talked about, what's one part of your personality that you can now see as a real strength? How can you lean into that trait, whether you're an introvert, a type B, or have a super internal locus of control, to really make your mark at work? Thanks for joining us for this Explainer.